Hello, people. Welcome to another episode of the Popular Side podcast. I'm Yinka Yusuf Akin Adekeye. We are recording on Sunday, 3rd March 2024. Young man, how was your weekend? And
Uh,
how was your week?
the week was, busy. The last time we met, I told you about my experience in jury duty. That's over now.
hmm Oh, really?
Um, yeah, I'm back
Can
to
I ask
work
what
now.
happened to the? Can I ask what happened to the
It
guy?
was what you call a mistrial.
Oh,
The jury could not agree on any of the five charges, so it was a
and I'm
mistrial.
sure
I
you
don't
are
know
the
what
one that
the
disagreed.
let's just say there
I'm
was
sure you are the
very
one that
stubborn.
disagreed.
No, it wasn't me actually. It wasn't me. There were some fairly stubborn people in the room. So anyway, it is what it is.
It is what it
Um,
is.
Weekend was great. I had my little boy turn 5, so there was a lot
Oh,
going on that front.
happy birthday
Uh,
to him.
Thank you, thank you. What about you? What did you do this week?
Work, work, work. That's what I did. Like Rihanna, work, 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 work. That's what I
uh,
did.
this is the season for
Also,
you, right? This is the
yeah,
season.
this is the season for me, so it's expected. So this is
Yeah,
this is my getaway kind of. If you get what
yeah,
I mean.
yeah. Yeah,
Anyway,
this is all you're gonna
anyway,
be doing for the next several weeks. Work and do this podcast. That's it.
I'll exactly
Yeah.
work and do this podcast. Anyway, so guys, what we have lined up for you today is quite an interest. It's going to be quite an interesting hour or hour 15 minutes or thereabout. We'll do our usual review and preview. We'll run through the top leagues in Europe. There's no Champions League this week, so
Nope.
we have more time to talk about some very interesting games. And also, we'll talk about football finance in terms of FFP, the impact of FFP. Has it been a success? Has it been a failure? Has it been fair to clubs? We'll also talk about, can football finance in Europe, can it borrow a leaf from our American counterparts who use a hard cap, soft cap system, or a cap system altogether? We'll talk a bit about that. And Akin has an unpopular opinion. I'm sitting this one out. Actually, I
Again,
thought we were going to. I thought we were going to borrow a leaf from. Maybe Rio Ferdinand should just join our podcast at this point because he keeps churning out unpopular opinions
he said
constantly.
another one. He said
Oh
another
my
one
god,
last week.
he did
Yeah,
another one. Right? Maybe I'll adopt his unpopular opinion, but you have one,
I
and
do
we'll talk
have one.
about that.
It
Yeah,
might be
and we
worse
just
than last week's. We'll
it
see.
might be. We'll see. So that's our lineup for today. So without much further ado, Akin,
With one more I do.
yeah,
So
what's that?
we have at least one friend
Okay.
interested in the jerseys we wear every week.
Oh, okay.
So we have to say something. So number one, you and I did not coordinate.
No, we did
I'm
not.
not gonna call them outfits. That might offend some people. We didn't coordinate our get up.
No, we
This
did
I
not.
just showed up, you showed up, and we're wearing the same club jersey. So this is
Yes.
Inter Miami, who have just
Yes.
recently signed the greatest player that ever lived. Let me move my mic so you can see it in its full glory. This is Inter Miami. Uh, that's Leo Messi's new team.
Yeah.
I'm wearing the home jersey. This the home
Yeah.
jersey, and you're
This
wearing the
is
away jersey.
last year's home jersey. I'm wearing last year's away jersey.
Yeah, and none of this was planned.
2023.
None of
We
this
didn't
was
plan
planned.
this. We didn't
But
plan this.
you tell the audience why you wore it, and then I'll tell them why I wore mine.
No specific reason. I just
Okay.
opened my wardrobe. I
Okay.
saw it and I picked it. Like you said, I have a bunch of them.
You
So I
have
just
like
picked one.
you have 150, so that makes sense.
I don't know the number that I have. Sincerely, I don't. So maybe this podcast will help me. So this is the sixth episode. So at least I know I have six.
You have at least 6. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
At least I know I have six.
So for me, so I was getting ready for this recording, and I was
hmm
going to do the I think the old school Okocha Bolton Wanderers. I've done one before. I
I
think I
see.
wore the white one 2 weeks ago. I was gonna wear the red one, but then I'm like, the MLS season just started. I
That's
live in the
true.
US. I try to support the
Yeah.
MLS. And
Mm-hmm.
not only that, I have a friend who may watch this. He's a season ticket holder for DC United. I
Oh,
reached
I
out
see.
to him. Yeah, I reached out to him during the week. I'm like, hey, friend, remember me? I'm pretty much your best friend in DC. Like, are we gonna go watch Messi together? And he was like, nah. I put that up for sale, and he went like this for like a lot of money. So he's not even going to what Messi is coming. Messi's coming next week to DC. So he's not even going to watch it. So he's definitely not bringing me to watch it. So I'm not going to see Messi. So I was a little sad. And that's why I have this
Wow.
jersey on.
So on the black market, what rate is it going for right now?
750, 800, 1,000. The
For
hype is
one
not as
game
bad as when it first started.
when it first started.
Yeah, that was 2,000, 3,000.
But the stadium is still gone before.
Oh,
Trust me.
yeah. It's a small, I mean, it's 20-ish thousand,
Yeah.
seats.
Okay.
It's a
Okay.
beautiful
Okay.
stadium. It's football only, so there's no track or any other thing on it.
Nothing in there.
It's very small, intimate, very modern stadium. It's real nice. It's real nice.
Anyway, so one of our friends said we probably should do a giveaway when it comes to jerseys.
And
So
you
maybe
do have a plug. You do have a plug.
yeah, I
So
do. We'll cook up something,
yeah.
and we'll do something across all our social media platforms when it comes to giveaways and jerseys and stuff, right? So
Okay.
let's just be on the lookout for that. Watch this space, okay? So let's head on. Let's head on into the business for the day. So we start off with the EPL, Akin.
Okay.
Quite a number of games, 1 to 5. Well, Arsenal didn't play, but 1 to 5 won.
Yeah.
So what are your games of the week or game of the
Yeah.
week, if I can ask you?
Yeah. So I would say Liverpool coming back in the 99th minute and scoring a goal. The much maligned David Nunes
Mm-hmm.
scoring a goal. Yinka, you sent a text yesterday saying the man now has 14 goals and 9 assists, and I
Yep.
responded saying they said it was a bust. For a
Yes.
bust, 23 goals contributions, and he's been out injured. He's come back. Limping a little bit. He's been benched for
Mm-hmm.
inconsistency. Everything has
Mm-hmm.
happened to him this season, and to still he's missed glaring chances. He's objectively played poorly a few games.
Mm-hmm.
To
Mm-hmm.
still come out and in a team with a lot of injuries. Liverpool has 12 players injured right now. I was joking earlier that if that was my team, everybody would hear about it. Liverpool
Yep.
just keep plugging along like nothing's happening. And it's not 12 reserves. It's Trent Alexander-Arnold, right? We've talked about Liverpool's midfield being, hit or miss over the years.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
talent in there right now, but it hasn't always worked well in unison. But Trent Alexander-Arnold is one weapon that can help you bypass your midfield when things are not working. Those
Yeah.
cross-field passes and things like that, right? Their attack really doesn't work without him. And he's out. Before he was out, he was playing roughly half a game, 40, 60 minutes. He's been subbed in and out. Uh, Jota, who is probably the second best finisher after Salah,
Mm-hmm.
is
Yep.
out. Salah himself is out. This is a guy who has been injured, has been at AFCON and back, injured at AFCON, been back, rushed back, got injured
Play the
again,
game.
and
Yeah.
is still at the top of the goals charts. It's crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, you objectively is having one of his worst seasons, eye test wise, but he's scoring more goals than just about anyone. He's assisting more than just about anyone. This guy's just phenomenal. So for me, the
Yes.
most meaningful thing that happened in the EPL this weekend was Liverpool winning at the death, 99th minute.
Mm.
Second most will be the worst midfield performance I think I've seen this season, maybe ever, from Man U against Man City. I watch a lot of Burnley and Luton. I keep joking that Luton are my favorite team in the league because they're just so innocently inept. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, this was they've I haven't seen Burnley or Luton play as poorly in midfield as Man U played today. It
Played
was
today.
naive. They were strolling when they should be hustling and running. It's bad. Look, you could be a really, really good team, well constructed, eager, earnest, honest, and get the bricks beaten off of you by City because
Hmm.
they're that good. When you show up and you're walking around and strolling around, you will get beat. And that's what happened
Yep,
today. So
absolutely.
I just found it very disappointing. Their captain, he didn't do anything except lay that pass for the screamer that Rashford scored, which was a great goal. It was a
Hmm.
great goal. And
It
probably the
was.
worst thing that could have happened to them was scoring that early and such a great goal.
Hmm.
The rest of it
Hmm.
was just disappointing. Okay, I'll stop.
Yeah. So
What did you think?
I'll piggyback on the two games that you talked about because I think those are the two interesting things that happened
Yeah,
this week in the EPL. Liverpool's goal probably shouldn't have stood because there was a free kick before. No, there was an injury to a Liverpool player,
hmm,
and the ball was with a Forest player. And the ref said, "Stop the game. Let's attend to the injured guy." And when the game was reintroduced, the ref gave the ball to
to Liverpool.
Liverpool.
I know.
And I'm like, sorry, what's going on here? That ball is City, it's Forest ball. They had the ball. They were in possession when you stopped play, right? And I understand the owner of Forest actually went after the ref in the tunnel. He was livid, he was angry, but at the end of the day, if all that happened between Otson Odoi and Taiwo Awoniyi, you can't be dribbling in your box
Yeah,
in the 100th minute. Come on, come on. So the ref gave 8 minutes time added on. Liverpool scored in the
and the
10th minute
knife.
time added on.
Yeah,
Yeah. So when they were celebrating, it was already 100 minutes. Yeah. So that if you look at what then happened, which we'll still talk about in La Liga,
mm,
same day, 5 hours later, right? Then you're beginning to wonder where's the consistency in how all these things work,
yeah,
right? But that's my two kobo for the Liverpool game.
yeah.
Then the City United game, I think you were spot on. United so naive,
Hmm.
so it was it was like you're watching my team in Ilorin play. I'm sorry. You scored that goal like you rightly said. Maybe the goal kind of gave them that false sense of security, and they thought they
Mm,
could just run away with a one nil lead. Not against City. Not
never.
that way, right? And Rashford had two chances. Well, not really clear chances, but he had one where he was clear on goal. All he needed to do was knock the ball forward and run with the ball. He missed his header.
He
You
nodded
can't
it
do that.
back to himself, back to his own
Back
body.
to
It was,
himself.
I'm not even sure. The commentator was stumbling on his words. He didn't know how to describe what just happened. Eventually, he said, "Oh, he must have felt the presence of the defender over his shoulder." I'm like, come on.
Then the next one was he was bent down on goal. It was almost shoulder to shoulder. Well, it was slightly ahead of Walker, right? Walker touched him. To be
Tugged
fair,
him.
there was
Tugged
contact.
him. It
Nah,
tugged him.
nah. You said it was a tug. I
It
think it
was a
was a
tug.
touch, right?
Okay.
So he went down, and I'm like, dude, hell no! You could have gone further with the ball. Why did you stop? Why?
So I'm
Because
gonna
you felt a touch on your shoulder or what?
Okay. So, one, we're having a factual disagreement because I watched it over and over and over. I thought it was more than
Okay.
a touch. I thought it was a tug. And I think it was his arm, right? Now, is a tall, lanky dude, was it enough to, to get him tumbling on the on the turf? Maybe not. Was it enough to like break his stride? Possibly, depending on how he was running. Possibly, right? I'm not sure, right? But what happened after that is my problem with United. I don't think I don't know how many seconds after that the goal went in on the other side, right? But I
Yeah.
do know Rashford never came back into the frame. He didn't
Mm-hmm.
run back to his half of the field, right? So that's
Yeah.
one. The midfielders, in quotes, because they didn't do anything today, didn't do anything to prevent the ball from going into the City midfield. They didn't do
Mm-hmm.
anything. McTominay
Mm-hmm.
strolled. One guy next to him strolled. And then what's the name of the guy who didn't actually close up on Foden?
Lindelof.
Lindelof just backed off. This guy scores a screamer. But it touched at least three or four City players before he got to
Yeah.
Foden. That should
Before
not
he
have been
got
a
to,
goal.
yeah,
That should
it
never have been a
shouldn't
goal.
be. It shouldn't be. So this goes back to when we say um, the refs and the
Yeah.
Premiership ecosystem were the ones causing this problem, right? Because anytime there is a foul, a potential foul, the first thing everybody says is, was there contact? And I'm like, football is a contact sport. That is not the question you should be asking. It is either you're kicked, you're fouled, do you understand?
You're
It
pulled
is
down.
not when you're pulled down, not when there is contact. That question is the problem. That question is the genesis of the refereeing problem in England. Oh, there was contact. You're rationalizing poor decisions in the past, all up to the point where now everybody just asks, "Oh, was he touched? Was there contact?" And I'm like, football is a contact sport. If that is the case, you'll be blowing a foul every every 30 seconds. Because
Yeah.
if you're jockeying for the ball, you touch people, right? So if I touch you, I'll say, "Oh, he fouled me." No, he touched you. He didn't foul you. There's a difference between the two. But the commentators, the refs, they have kind of normalized when there is a silly decision, the question they ask is, "Oh, was there contact?"
Yeah.
And this is what happens when things like this, when you let it slide. This is the problem that you get through at the end of the day.
There was one more flashpoint in the game. I thought it was a penalty. You thought it wasn't. So it wasn't Rashford. Who was it? Was it Ganacho? It may have been Ganacho. I think Ganacho was bearing down on goal. It was at the edge, let's say that 90-degree edge of the
Yep,
box.
yep, yep,
And Ederson came out. The commentator said it was brave. It was brave goalkeeping. Now, I on the third watch, I saw that it got a little bit of the ball first, right?
yeah,
Back to your
mm-hmm,
point. In England, as as long as you get the ball, everyone goes, "Oh, you got the ball." But you can't
yeah.
get the ball and take the man with you. It doesn't matter if
Or
you
take
get,
or take or take the man before the
you know what I'm
ball,
saying?
or
So
the man after the
if you
ball.
get 5 minutes of the ball and you get 5% of the ball and 100% of the man, that's a foul. Like, what are these people thinking? So this guy come out. What he came out one. He came out 2-footed. This is a goalkeeper. He
Yeah,
came out 2 foot. It didn't go with his hands, by the way. It went with his feet. In my opinion,
yeah,
you've made yourself an outfield player when you do that. You know, he got a
yeah,
little bit of the ball and then he absolutely flattened this dude, took all of him out. And the referee just said, "No, nothing to see here. I'm
yeah.
out."
And he
You
moved
know,
and he
and
moved
then
on.
what you said about the Liverpool game, right? When VAR came out, they told us one of the things they were going to adjudicate that VAR would get involved in was mistaken identity,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is the
Mm-hmm.
closest to mistaken identity I can think about. The ref gave the ball to the wrong person. You don't have to wait to see how it plays out. Just speak to him in his ear and just say, "Hey, dude, no, 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 no. That's not what this is
They
supposed to be."
they had the
Done.
ball exactly. Done. Done. But they didn't do that, obviously. Anyway,
Ah,
so
okay.
quickly moving on. Luton Villa. Ollie Watkins continues to be, he's just having a sensational season. Luton came back. They equalized.
They
Then
equalized
Villa
2-2.
won it at the death. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just before we roll off to the other leagues, top four prediction and relegation prediction. What's yours?
So I'm going to start with relegation. I think
Okay.
Everton will be safe. So, by the way, we didn't mention Everton's 10-point penalty on appeal was reduced to 6 points. So
Yeah,
I
it was.
think that would give them enough. Plus, they were playing okay until recently. They lost again. They lost again this weekend.
Yeah,
But I
West
think
Ham
that would
beat
give
them.
them enough not to be
Mm-hmm.
relegated. And
Mm-hmm.
who's at the bottom right now? Is it Sheffield United?
It's It's Sheffield United,
Yeah,
Burnley, and
Burnley.
Luton.
Burnley, yeah.
Yeah.
So Burnley has 13 points, right? After
Mm-hmm.
27 games, that is like the third worst point accumulation in the history of the Premier League since 1992, right? Over
Both
27
of them
games.
actually have 13 points.
Yeah,
Burnley and
yeah.
Sheffield United.
But Burnley has played one more game. Burnley has played
They play one more
27
game.
games.
Yeah. They play.
So,
Yeah.
as much as I love Vincent Company. I loved him as a player. I loved him as a captain. I want black
Yeah.
coaches to do
Same here.
well. He won the championship with 6 games to spare last year, right?
Mm.
They're going right back to the championship. So I I hope it gets a chance to bring them back up. I hope they have a better strategy when they come back up. I love that he
Mm-hmm.
tried to play ball. They just didn't have they didn't have the right players to do it. So I think
Yeah. They
Luton
don't
would
have the
join them.
squad.
Yeah, Luton has been in so many battles with the big teams, scoring multiple goals against the big teams. Did that again this weekend, but they needed to be a little less adventurous. I can't believe I'm saying this because that's the kind of ball I like, but they needed to
Mm-hmm.
just shut it down a little bit. Get some goalless draws. Get some 1-1 draws and not try to score every time. At the
Yeah.
top of the
Yeah.
league, I think City will win the league unless Arsenal beats City at Etihad. Um, I think Liverpool almost faltered this weekend. I think if they continue to have 12 injuries, they will falter. So I have more faith in City. I don't have as much faith in Arsenal. I think things will happen to Arsenal more than Arsenal will make things happen. I don't know if that
Mm.
makes sense. So the
Yeah.
City
Yeah.
I saw today did not play well. They scored great goals. They didn't play well. Man, you were
Yeah.
just as bad as you could be as a sixth place team in the EPL. I think if
Mm.
City plays the way they played today, Arsenal will go there and beat them. If Arsenal beats
Yeah.
them, then it will be a two-horse race. If Arsenal loses, it will be a two-horse race, and Arsenal will not be in it. So I think in my opinion, that's the critical game for Arsenal. If they don't win that game, they're not going to be champions. I think
Mm.
third will be one of those three. I think it will be City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and I think Villa will have just enough to pip Spurs to it. What do you think?
Yo, so for me, I think the table will just stay the way it is
Which
come the
is
end of the season.
Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Villa,
Villa.
Villa.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
You think
I mean,
Liverpool
those
can
three,
win with all the injuries?
they are winning without the injuries. So what happens when these guys come back? The key game is next week against City, right? That game is key. I think Liverpool is having that hoorah season for Klopp, right?
Mm,
I mean, it's like it's written in the stars, kind of. They should not be top of the league with the injuries that they have.
that's true.
They shouldn't have won. They shouldn't be in the FA Cup. They shouldn't be in. They shouldn't be competing for a quadruple, given the kind of injuries that they have.
They
But
have a
yet
great
they are.
coach. They have a great coach, and that
And I told you
matters.
they actually have it. They have a great squad. But
Okay, so all right.
people kind of
So
overlook that.
time out, time out. Let me tell everybody what you said. I don't know if you said it on here or if you said it in private. So
I did. I
Yinka
said
told
it on
me
here.
weeks
First
ago,
episode.
first episode,
Yeah.
Yinka said
Yeah.
Liverpool had the deepest team in the league.
Yep.
Liverpool, not Man City. Everyone thinks it's Man City, but Man City quickly gets down to the Bobby Bobs or whatever that kid's name is. City
Exactly.
quickly gets down to that. And Liverpool have players that, I mean, Curtis Jones is injured. That guy is
He's
so
injured.
vital. Is so
He's
vital to how
injured.
their midfield works. Shobozlai has been injured. McAllister has been out. It's yeah.
Yeah. So it's crazy. So I'm watching Napoli Liverpool Napoli Juve. Napoli just scored now.
Osimhen,
Osimhen missed the penalty. No, he missed the penalty, but the rebound was tapped in by someone else. He won the penalty, by the way. So going
yeah.
back to Liverpool, Liverpool, like I said, top squad, best squad in my opinion in the league, right? And the way things are going is just simple as if I get that kind of Ivorian Nations Cup kind of
Mm.
feel about this. It's like it's just gonna happen for them. But let's see what happens next week. The
So
next 4 games for City will be critical.
I have my prediction for next week. My prediction is
Okay.
Liverpool is playing at home, right? next week.
Yeah.
So my
Yeah.
prediction is Liverpool is going to win that game. That's my prediction. Because
Mm.
I don't like the way City played today. I didn't think they were good. I thought Kevin De Bruyne was not his usual self.
Yeah.
Haaland missed like a Yakubu type miss. I mean, you
Yep.
just yeah.
Yeah.
I think Liverpool
It's
will win next Monday.
unacceptable.
I think Liverpool will
Okay.
win. Yeah. What do you
Let's
think?
see if
What's
they
your
win next.
prediction?
If they win on Monday, I think they win the league.
But do you think they'll
If
win
they
on
win
Monday?
on Monday,
Sunday. They're playing Sunday. Do you think
is
they'll
it,
win?
they play on
Yeah,
Sunday.
it's on the 10th. Yeah.
I don't know. Let me sit on the fence on this one. Let's move on.
You do a lot of sitting on the fence. Okay, that's
I
okay.
do a lot of sitting on the fence. It's fine. Let's move on. Okay. So let's quickly go to La Liga.
Mm,
Barca still playing right now. They're drawing 0-0 with Bilbao. But there was an interesting game that happened
yeah.
yesterday. Was that yesterday? Yesterday,
It,
right?
I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, it
But
was.
yeah,
It was
Saturday. Yeah.
yesterday at the Mestalla, Valencia, Real Madrid. I had a friend over. We're watching the game, and when Valencia scored 2 goals, my friend was like, "Watch it, watch. Madrid will win this game," you know. And as we're talking and we're watching, and he said, "You see, it's 2-1 now. It's 2-2, and they actually scored a third goal."
You
So I'll let you
did.
take it from here. What do you think of the debacle, right,
Okay.
that happened at the Mestalla?
Okay. So one, what was the significance of the two goals scored? The two goals were scored by Vinny Jr.
Vinny
in the
Jr.
stadium
Yeah,
where he was racially abused. Not once, not
absolutely.
twice, many, many times, right? So,
And he
so
was still racially abused
and it was still
yesterday.
racially abused again, right? So
Exactly.
it's
Mm.
like this is never gonna change. It's just really, really sickening and really sad. And Vinny is like a
Yeah.
legit superstar, right? At this stage in the game.
Hmm.
I'm really looking
Yeah.
forward to how he meshes with Mbappe when Mbappe gets there. So now,
Okay.
all right, I'm gonna try and be as accurate as possible in how I describe this,
Hmm.
right? So I believe there was a corner kick. Yeah, I believe there was a corner kick. As as Real were going to take the corner kick, the referee indicates to everyone that this will be the last kick of added time, right? So the
Hmm.
ball was crossed, it was defended, pretty much was kicked out. And then as it's been sent back into the box by Real, the referee blows. Now it's one of those traditional three whistles. Pom, pom, pom. The first one goes before the ball is kicked. The second and the third go as the ball was being kicked. The third has already gone before Bellingham now scores the goal. Now you only
Yeah.
need the one. You don't need the second and the third, right? So that
Yeah.
was what happened. So Bellingham, is going crazy. He's cussing in English at a Spanish referee. He gets sent off. His coach tries to defend him, and, at the presser later, he's like, "Oh, he didn't abuse the referee. He just said a cuss word in English." At the end of it, which is kind of
Uh,
insane
was
when you think
was
about it.
lost in translation.
Lost in translation. So my question to you, Yinka Yusuf, is:
Yes, sir.
shouldn't FIFA and IFAB is the body responsible for rules, right? Shouldn't
Hmm.
they just have, you know, uh, a clear cut, hey, can you or can you not stop a game, end a game on an offensive sequence, on an attacking sequence? Because that's really the question.
Absolutely. So precedence is the key thing here.
Mm,
Precedence is you let the offensive phase or the attacking phase, you let it die before you blow. That is why Liverpool got their goal,
yeah.
right? I don't have a problem with the ref letting the attack go on,
Mm,
right? In Liverpool's case, one
yeah.
can argue that maybe when Nottingham Forest had the ball, when Awoniyi and Odoi had it, it could have blown. Then I get that, right? But it was still part of the offensive phase, so I get that. But that's the precedent. That is the precedence that has been set. That is what we all know. Irrespective of what the time is, you let the ball You let the offensive phase end, then you blow. Okay? That's what we all know. So what happened to Real Madrid? Because there's no way the ref can tell me, right, that that ball was still not the offensive phase was still not in play. He couldn't have said, "Oh, nah, the Valencia had the ball, they cleared the ball." No, no, no. So for me, I think that should have been a very, very clean goal, right? And I also think, and this is, I might be wrong here, but did you see Vinny Jr.'s second goal?
Yes.
Dude, that ball was offside.
I
I don't
think it
know how
was
they draw lines. I don't know how they draw lines anymore. I'm sorry. I
I
don't know how
I
they
thought it
draw
was
lines
offside as well.
anymore.
I thought it was offside
I
as well.
thought it was offside
But they don't.
because the
Yeah.
line. So I think the ref was just like, maybe we goofed on that one, and I'm not gonna let them win this. So,
That's a.
and I'm
I
see.
totally. I'm glad you. I totally forgot about that. And quickly, I don't want to go back to the EPL, but speaking of drawing lines, Ollie Watkins's first goal. I think it was the first goal. Referee
Oh no, it
blew
was
it.
second one.
Or was it the second? My bad. Yeah, first
It
one was
was
a
the second
header.
one. Yeah,
Sorry, first one was a header, which
yeah.
was a brilliant hit. That is not a big man. That was a
It's
brilliant
not.
header. This guy is so
He's a
impressive.
fantastic player. I'm
Great
telling
player.
you,
So
solid player.
the second one, when I saw I thought, why did the flag go up? This guy is clearly onside, right? And then
Yep.
the assistant referee had the flag on. Referee blew it as no goal, and then they came back, drew the lines. It's the way
Mm-hmm.
they draw the lines, boy. I can't even
I,
anymore.
I don't get it anymore. You're picking somebody's shoulder, picking
I know.
another person's foot. What are you guys doing?
And the person is
What
50
are you
yards
guys
away. Like,
doing?
you
And
know?
it's ridiculous,
Yeah.
right? So going back to the Madrid game, right? I thought that was a clean goal, right?
So
But hold on, Madrid, they are not in the best position to complain. If there's any club that has received the most favor, right, from refs in in Europe this season, it's Madrid. They have come on. So I know people say this stuff averages out, it nils off and stuff like that. I think Madrid should just sit this one out.
all right.
I think the red card given to Bellingham should be rescinded
I
because I
didn't like
mean
that. I didn't like that. I think a
what he
yellow
said is not. Yeah, it's not
a
even
yellow would have
anything.
been fine.
So it's lost in translation. They should cancel the red card. I don't know what Rudiger said because I guess I thought Rudiger too was sent off. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we
I don't know German.
we can guess. We can
We
guess
can
what
guess.
Rudiger said. You
We can guess what Rudiger says. So maybe he deserved this red card. But Bellingham for that? Nah, I don't think so.
Okay, Yinka, I'm going to read something from The Athletic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jacob Whitehead is the name of the writer. Just a quick
Mm-hmm.
paragraph. What
Yeah.
constitutes being on the attack? Being about
Mm-hmm.
to shoot or cross? What if there's a
Mm-hmm.
transition opportunity? What if a player has a clear run at goal from behind halfway? Is 60
Mm-hmm.
seconds of patient build up from around the edge of the box, a la Pep Guardiola's Manchester City one ongoing
Mm-hmm.
attack? So these are all great questions, right? These are things that IFAB and FIFA need to clarify.
Yeah.
And then let's also remind people that the added time is a minimum. You cannot
Exactly.
give less than the added time, but you can give more, right?
Absolutely.
So one thing this writer, one suggestion he had was, hey, there's a lot of people that have said we should just have we should be able to stop the clock in football during the 90 minutes.
Just like
And
the
then
NBA.
he reminded us that most games on average the ball is in play 55 minutes out of 90. If you add
Yeah.
time, games would take 3 hours. So don't do that. What he said instead was when the 90 minutes are over and you have your added time, that should be a clock, right? That you can stop, right? Everyone in the stadium can see it,
Mm.
and
Mm.
futsal already does it, right? I know we don't really watch
Yeah.
futsal. Futsal already does it. So if it's 8 minutes of added time, at 8 minutes, you're done. No matter what you're
You're
doing, there's
done.
no discretion.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
when you start wasting time, boom, you stop the clock. When the ball's out of play, you stop the clock. And what do you think
Yeah.
about that idea?
I think that's fine.
Mm,
At least it removes this subjectivity of, oh, are we still in offensive play? For example, I play FIFA EAFC with my kids from
yeah.
time to time. Um, and the logic in the game is once you pass the ball back, that's it. If the ball goes backward, right, your offensive play is over, right?
Mm,
So if you chuck the ball forward, right, and the keeper saves it, once it goes back to the defense, game's over. Ref blows. But if you're on the offensive play and you pass the ball backward, once the ball goes backward, that's it. The game is over. So there are multiple things that can
mm,
be done. But whatever it is that you settle for, please be consistent with it.
yeah.
That is my problem with the refs. Please be consistent with it. So me as a fan, I can sit down and say, "Oh, that shouldn't happen." But these days, I've told you this. I don't know what's offside anymore. I
No,
don't know what's a
no.
penalty anymore. I don't know what's a foul anymore because it's this week it's this, the next week it's that. They should borrow a leaf from you lawyers where you say there's precedent. So you say in the case of Salah versus Van Dijk or Salah versus Saliba, this was deemed a foul, which
Yeah.
is, I'm telling you, that's where we should be getting to. That's what we want as a fan. So I can look at it and say, that was given a foul 2 games ago. That should be a foul or that should be a penalty. Not,
So
oh, one ref thinks, oh, it's fine, and the other one thinks otherwise.
you just
It's
reminded me of
ridiculous.
something now. I was watching Bournemouth versus Burnley.
Mm-hmm.
I believe
That was today.
that was on Saturday as well.
No, that was
And
earlier on today.
was it today? Oh yeah, okay, it was
Yeah,
today.
it was
Yeah,
earlier on today.
it was today.
Yeah.
So sorry, it
Mm-hmm.
was today. And just before Bournemouth's second goal,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Burnley scored a goal that was disallowed. Right? And why was it disallowed?
Mm-hmm.
The Burnley guy rose up above the Bournemouth defender. There was a
Mm-hmm.
touch, maybe a foul.
Mm-hmm.
He headed the
Mm-hmm.
ball to his teammate. Teammate pokes it in. And then I remember your argument when it happened Arsenal versus Newcastle at Newcastle. And,
Yep.
there was a foul on Gabriel Magalhaes. And
No, don't let's say that was a foul. There were two hands.
there was two
He
hands on
jumped
his
up
back.
because the ref said it's not a foul, so you can't say
Okay.
it was a
All
foul.
right.
There were two hands on his
On his
back.
back. So that's
Yes.
the precedent part of it. Like two hands on the back, no problem. In this case, though, for Burnley, it wasn't
One
even
hand,
really two hands on the back. It
and
headed
it's a
over the
foul.
guy. There was a little bit of a touch, and he didn't even score the goal. He went to his teammate. Teammate pokes in. Unfortunately for me and Burnley and Vincent Company, Bournemouth goes the other way and score a beautiful goal. What I thought was interesting though was I don't know if you saw uh, Company's interview right after the
No,
game.
I didn't. I didn't.
Oh,
What did he
okay.
say?
So he said something like after talking about all the things that happened, he said it lists all the ways they've been jobbed this season.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says
Mm-hmm.
one problem he has is they keep sending junior officials to his games. And I thought,
Wow.
that's interesting. That
Wow.
that Burnley aren't getting the cream of the crop in officiating, and that's why they keep getting jobbed. I thought that was a big statement to make.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Wow.
know.
That's interesting. I'll go check that out. I'll go check that out. I want to see the refs. I want to see the refs that have been going to Burnley. I'm serious. But you see, they give the big games to the more experienced refs, which is
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
Wow.
I know.
Wow. That's a
I know.
serious one.
I didn't know
Anyway,
what I didn't know what to say.
let's let's put the EPL on ice. Let
Yeah,
me quickly run through the
please
rest
do.
of the leagues.
Please do.
Going to the Bundesliga, your friends, those are the real butlers in this case. Bayern, they drew away to Freiburg,
Yeah,
87th minute equalizer. That was on Friday or so. It
it
was on
was on Friday.
Friday.
Yeah,
Then Earlier on today, Leverkusen won, and they're now 10 points clear. So
Still
I think it's
unbeaten.
safe.
Still
We're
unbeaten
still
in all
unbeaten.
competitions.
So I think it's safe for us to say it's curtains in the Bundesliga. I think Leverkusen are going to win it.
Yeah.
I don't. If Lazio beats Bayern on Wednesday, I think they're playing this week, aren't they? The Champions League,
Is
the
that
return
this week or
leg. Is
next
it
week?
this
I'm
week
not
or
even
the upper
sure.
week?
Yeah.
If they lose that game, Thomas Tuchel is gone. They're gonna fire him.
So
They're not gonna.
I
They're
don't
not
know
gonna
if
keep.
you
They won't keep him to the end
heard
of the
this,
season.
but he's not coming back next season. They've already made the
I'm
decision.
telling you,
Okay.
I
Okay.
know, but I'm saying if he doesn't win that game, right, they will fire him. They're not
Got it.
gonna wait
Got
for
it.
him. Yeah, they'll be like, no, this cancer is deep enough. Let's
Yeah.
just cut it now and move on rather than let you infest us more. And we can't recover very well come summer.
Yeah.
So I think they're gonna let him go. Syria, Napoli just won 2-1.
Against Juve.
I think against Juve.
Yeah.
Inter play tomorrow. Inter light years ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
Lazio Milan was a crazy game, by the way.
I
Lazio
didn't
ended
watch
the
it.
game with 8 men. 8 men.
No.
Milan won 1-0.
Wow.
Gross indiscipline on part of Lazio players. And guess what? Your boy, Guendouzi, was deep in it. He was in the thick of it. He got a red card. Lazio, they ended the game with 8 men. That's it.
Yeah.
PSG, I don't even need to talk about League
We
One
said we're not
anymore.
going to talk about
It's
France anymore. Maybe
it,
next
it,
season it will be
it's
more competitive when Mbappe is gone. But until then,
yeah. Until then. So that's the wrap up for the rest of Europe.
yeah.
So Akin, let's head on into the next section where we'll be talking about FFP,
Yeah. Okay.
what
Let
it's
me,
about,
yeah.
why you think, whether it's a failure, whether it's a success, is it
Yeah.
fair, the whole wrap. So take it away. What do you think?
Okay, so let's just say there's been many iterations of financial fair play
Yeah.
for the most part European football, right? It's mostly European football. In most other parts of the
Mm-hmm.
world, no one has enough money for this to be a problem anyway. So it's mostly European football.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
The name has gone from FFP, financial fair play, to sustainability and something something rules.
Yeah,
Um,
profitability,
Profitability
PNS, profitability and
and sustainability
sustainability.
rules. For those
Yeah.
who are paying attention, Nottingham Forest are in trouble right now. The whole idea is over a 3-year period, you're allowed to lose a certain amount of money or a certain percentage of your revenue or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And over
Mm-hmm.
that 3-year accounting period, Everton violated those rules over those 3 years.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest, we
Yeah.
saw when it was happening. We knew when it was happening. It was 2 seasons ago when they bought like 30 players, right? That's
Yep.
when it was happening, right? They came up from the championship and they're like, hey, we're not going back down. It's crazy out there. So they went and bought everyone that was looking for a club and put them on big wages for a small team that hadn't really been around for 20, 30 years, right? It used to be a big
Mm-hmm.
club, but now a small team. So
Mm-hmm.
so that's how they got caught up. We know that. They signed guys like the what's the name of the former Man United player who is now in Korea? Lingard,
Um,
Jesse Lingard,
Lingard,
Jesse
Jesse
Lingard.
Lingard.
It worked out so poorly for them and for him. Aston Villa wanted no West Ham wanted him. He didn't go. He went to Nottingham Forest. Now he's playing in Korea. And then the same thing happened for Everton, right? And then we have Man City, who are able to, because of their ownership structure, they're able to self deal and knock some money their way from fake
Mm-hmm.
sponsors and whatnot, to
Yeah.
offset the balance, right? So that's where it
Mm-hmm.
is. So, but I don't want to talk about the sustainability and whatever. I think that's all made up. I want to talk about the original FFP, which is the whole idea was do not spend more than what you're making. That's really what it is, right? And what I thought
Yeah.
was interesting was back in the maybe 10, 15 years ago, the old Wigan chairman was interviewed and someone asked him, FFP would be good for if there was a cap, a salary cap in the EPL, would you support it?
Mm-hmm.
And he said no.
Mm-hmm.
And the interviewer was like, but that would be good for Wigan because it would control how much money anyone can
Yeah.
spend on wages, because
Mm-hmm.
wages is
Yep.
really where people think it's the sign on, it's the transfer fees and
Transfer
whatnot.
fee.
Those
But it
big,
actually contributes also. It
it
does.
does, it does. But the
It
wages, I
does.
mean, we're talking like bench players on the biggest teams make way more money than starting players on the worst teams, right? Like it's a
Yeah.
big difference. But
Yeah.
what this guy said, no, I want to compete on a level playing field. I don't want anything artificial. So that made me think. So this is my theory. I've shared this with you before. I think
Mm.
from a political point of view, at least in what
Mm-hmm.
people espouse, whether they actually believe it or not, you would say
Mm-hmm.
Europe tends to be a little less capitalist, in their political realm than America, right? But when it
Yeah.
comes to their sports, Europe is 1,000% capitalist. It's like you do whatever you want to do, nobody cares. But
A
when it
million
comes to,
percent capitalist.
right, 1,000,000%. But when it comes to American sports, it's like
Yeah.
the rich people are like, we're not going in unless we're guaranteed we cannot lose. So that's why there's
Absolutely.
relegation in Europe. There's no relegation in America, right?
So
It's
you
a
have
closed system in
collective bargaining
America.
agreements in collective bargaining
Collect
agreements in the US. Yeah. So where everybody defines what percentage of the pot will
goes
come
to the players.
goes to the players, the owners. It's crazy.
And then there's my last point before I turn it back to you. The concept of parity,
Yeah.
parity. In the American sports arena, that's almost like sacrosanct, right?
Yeah.
Because let's just take the NBA, 30 teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every fan of every team thinks they can win every year, which is crazy. And not only that, they think they have the right to win every year. They think they can attract anybody, and they have the right to attract anybody. They think there's
You're
no
talking about
hierarchy.
you're talking about New York Knicks more than the
Yeah, I'm
rest of
talking
them.
about us. Yes, but in European leagues, there's a hierarchy.
Yep.
Like Nottingham Forest, we keep picking on them. They don't come into the season thinking they're gonna win anything,
Absolutely.
because there's a real hierarchy. There's no parity. The Bournemouth Stadium sits like 10,000 people.
Yeah.
You know, Man U 73,000. Emirates,
Yep.
Arsenal 60,000.
60,000.
West Ham plays in the Olympic Stadium, the London Stadium. I don't even know what the capacity is. It's crazy, right? They don't do the
Yeah.
same thing. They're not the same club. They don't compete on the same level. They cannot attract the same players. There's no max salaries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Messi's salary when it was at Barcelona was pretty
Mm-hmm.
much the worth of some clubs.
Yep.
It's it's just crazy. So for me,
It is.
so
It
let's
is
let's
crazy.
try and bring this home. Can football benefit from a hard cap, and the NFL as a hard cap, which you can go over, the NBA as a soft cap, which you can go over, and then there's a
But
there's
you
a gray
pay
area a
you
little bit
you
where you
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 pay
start paying
you pay
taxes.
$1.
Yeah,
Exactly. You pay $1 for every dollar you go above, and it goes
yeah.
into the pot of the league, and it shares with the teams that didn't go above.
That didn't go above, and then after that
Exactly.
you now get to a hard cap because you can't keep going on
Exactly.
forever,
You now get a hard
right?
cap. Exactly.
So what do you think? It's a lot. We're trying to do this in like 10-15 minutes, which is impossible, but we'll try.
Yeah, yeah. So let's go back. So FFP to start with was an UEFA construct,
Yeah.
right? They were the ones that said, you know what, we're scared. We need to prevent financial doping. We need to prevent clubs from spending more than they earn. And also, we need to avoid immediate financial problems, which might threaten the long term survival of clubs, right? Because people were just, see what happened to Leeds. Leeds almost, when they had Mark Viduka, what's his name, Alan Smith, Harry Kewell, they were balling, right? And all of a sudden, they were out of Europe, out of the Premier League, and Leeds almost died. In fact, Leeds died. They probably just got resurrected. So that's what UEFA was trying to look at. But the Premier League now decided to do their own bit, like you said, which is the profitability and sustainability rules thing. Um, but before then, even before UEFA started FFP, you had some leagues that already had their own limited version of FFP. So the French league, for example, they didn't just have that orientation or that mentality of developing young players. It's because there was a rule in place that limited your spending. Yeah. Which is why it's not as if French clubs don't have rich owners. They do.
That's true.
Right.
That's
But
true.
because of those regulations, they more or less imbibe that culture of developing young players. Same thing with the Bundesliga, right? So a lot of teams too developing young players, and Bayern sat on top of the food chain. They've been on top of the food chain forever. You will be if you're sponsored by Allianz, sponsored by Mercedes-Benz, all the Adidas, all the big German companies were lining up, right, to sponsor Bayern Munich. Yeah. So that is the genesis of FFP. But the PNS is an interesting one. So you're right. You're allowed to make losses of £15 million a year over a 3-year period, and those losses can go up to 105. But you see that 90 million, there's a difference between the 15 and the 105. Your parent entity needs to be able to fund that deficit if it happens. So Everton, for example, went as far as 124 over a 3-year period. And Everton said, and which was why they reduced their points to 6 points. Everton said that the Russian-Ukraine war really, really affected them because they were this close to agreeing something with Usmanov. But when the UK government said don't do anything with anybody from Russia,
There you go.
right, it messed them up, right? And so it was a ripple effect. It was COVID, then it was that, and it was, which is why they kind of they listened to them and they brought their whatever down to 6 points. Now, your brothers, Manchester City, they have 115 charges against them. 115, right? Ranging from 2009 till 2018 or so.
Yeah.
And if they see, I don't know what will happen to them if I don't think the 115 charges will go away.
They can't.
I don't think it will. I don't know. I try to get the details of the charges so that we can kind of list it out. Maybe when you see this, when you listen to this and you watch on YouTube, we'll probably have a still that shows what the charges are.
Okay,
yeah,
that's a good idea.
So so this is exactly what's going on. So I like this. I like what FFP is about. Okay, because this is the only way you can protect the smaller clubs. It is not limiting what you can spend. What it is saying is spend within your means. It doesn't even say revenue. It says you're allowed to make losses up to 105 million pounds. Akin, 105 million pounds is not small money. You understand?
Yeah.
But these clubs want to gamble. They want to gamble. They believe me pumping in money is going to be the solution. Look at Chelsea, for example, right now. And I really want to talk about Chelsea.
Do we have to?
Well, yeah. We have to. We have to, right? So, full disclosure, I'm a chartered accountant, right? This is what I do for a living. So I understand what Chelsea is doing. So the accounting policy when it comes to player acquisition is it goes this way. If I buy, let's say I'm Arsenal, I want Akin to come play for me. I buy Akin in his dream. I pay £50 million for Akin. That £50 million, if Akin signs a 5-year contract, I can amortize that £50 million over 5 years.
Yeah.
So that what hits my account every year is 10 million naira. Okay? That same £50 million, if Akin had signed a 10-year contract with me, right, it will now be 55 million per year. Remember, this 5 million contributes to this 105 million annual revenues that we're talking about, and loss that we're talking about. So Chelsea thought that they had found a way, okay, to job the system. Banking on, if we buy young players, their value will always go up.
Yeah.
But now here is the flip side of it. the PNS rules have been updated now. You can't sign players for 8.5 years anymore. It's 5 years.
I told you that was going to happen. I told you they were going to
But
change
we knew
something.
that was going to happen. We
Yep.
knew it was going to happen. But what I didn't like was they should have made it retrospective. They should have punished Chelsea. But what they said is you can't do it anymore. The ones you did can stay, right? Which I was like, come on, why give these guys this leeway? Why don't you make it retrospective, punish them, cancel the contracts they have, and force them to make it 5? But they will still get caught up. Because here's the thing. So let's say, okay, I paid 50 million for you, sign a 5-year deal. So that means by the end of year 2, I've taken 20 million to my P&L, my income statement. And sorry guys for all these jargons, but just bear with me. You get what I'm saying. So by end of year 2, on your balance sheet, you still have 30 million, which is the value of Akin's contract. If I then sell Akin, for example, for 20 million naira, that means I've made a loss on 10 million naira because I had a balance of 30 million and I sold him for 20. So that means a Mikhail Modric right now, or give me another player, or a Lavia, or whatever. If the
Caicedo,
all
Fernandez.
of them,
Yeah.
if the fair valuation, if what other clubs are willing to pay for them is not up to what Chelsea is carrying in their books, Chelsea are in deep, deep, deep trouble. The only people that can bail them out are the Saudis. So somebody also needs to check that related party transactions between Chelsea and the Saudis,
Of course.
because that's the way. Because who buys Koulibaly for that ridiculous amount? Who buys, what's his name? The goalkeeper, the Senegalese goalkeeper, for that ridiculous amount.
Saudi.
Yeah, it's the Saudi guys.
And
so
the
this
question is, what sporting reason do you have to get rid of that man? To get rid of all your goalkeepers and bring in brand new goalkeepers. Think about it. We talked about I think I talked about it last episode. What was the point of flushing everybody out and buying 30 new players? I wasn't exaggerating at 30. It was literally 30 new players. That's
30 new players, yeah.
What was the point?
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
They won the Champions League 2 seasons before.
Chelsea fans, look away right now. If your young players don't increase in value, you guys are in deep trouble. The FFP is going to come. PNS, not FFP in this case. UEFA will still come up with their own stuff. But the Premier League, they're going to come after you guys hard. And it's not going to be fun times for Chelsea. So now going back to the question of whether a hard cap, I can agree with the Wigan chairman.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the cap system. Okay? I mean, it is, if you have an ecosystem and the value within your ecosystem is you've built that value, there is that intrinsic value, then let people spend within their means. I like the P&S rules as they are right now. In fact, it doesn't even say, spend what you've spent from your profit. It has given you wiggle room, £105 million. Dude, what else do you want? But the Barcelonas of this world, the Real Madrids of this world, they're not happy because they believe that they can, if you open up this stuff, that they have enough financial power, they have enough clout, enough presence to be able to just make this a situation where we want limitless spending. We want to buy anybody we want to buy without anybody looking at our books, and we just want to make something. I don't think that's sustainable.
Yeah.
Right? As it stands, if you are buying Mbappe, or if Mbappe had been, for example, let's look at an Osimhen. I heard his release clause is £130 million. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Really? £130 million?
Are you saying it's too much or not enough?
Of course it's too much. Which human being is worth £130 million?
All right, so let me jump in. So you're right. On an absolute level, no one is worth that amount. But when Chelsea comes in and pays 100 and was it 20 or 25 million for
For Enzo.
Enzo Fernandez, that's his name.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then they pay 100 and was it 5 million or
105 for Modric.
for no for yeah, and then how much did they pay for Caicedo, Moises Caicedo? Same
Same,
amount.
around the same range.
Okay,
Yeah.
how do you spend 330-ish million on three players
Yeah.
in one transfer cycle? So
Which is why I said, Akin, they need to watch out, right? Their fair value, yes, fair value market is how much a willing buyer and seller
yeah,
agree
yeah,
on the
yeah.
transaction, right? Chelsea's market is different from every
Hmm.
other person's market, right? We thought City's market was different, right? Then Chelsea came back and they just said, "You think you guys can be stupid? We show you we're way more stupid than you."
Yeah.
And they just they just decided to, it is absolutely ridiculous. So by the time these guys flop,
Mm.
and none of them is looking. The best player is Cole Palmer, who they bought for a way cheaper amount
45 million.
than a Modric.
45 million.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So right now, if you're looking at Palmer and Modric, let's say it averages out. Let's say Palmer's value has probably increased to like 65, 70, sake of argument. There is no way Modric is not up to 40 million right
No,
now in
it's
terms
not.
of valuation.
It's not.
So that means you're gonna absorb 60 million, 65 million ish if you're gonna sell him.
So,
So right now they're looking for somebody to take on a loan or
yeah.
something like that. It's just ridiculous.
So, people will say, what about other clubs? So I'll just tell on myself, right? Arsenal released uh, their financials, their last
Yep.
season's financials this past week. Arsenal lost
Yep.
52 million pounds.
52 million pounds. Yep.
18 million of that was from the mistake they made with Pepe, right?
Pepe.
Yeah, which
Exactly.
you and I believe was some kind of financial irregularity, money laundering, whatever it is. Don't quote
Something
us.
else exchanged hands.
Something
It's
happened,
not just Pepe.
right?
Pepe alone can be worth 75 million pounds
70,
as at when
70,
we
73 million pounds was what Arsenal paid
73
for.
million pounds.
Yeah, but speaking of the amortization, over however many years, when they had to cancel the contract, the effect on the books was 18 million pounds. That's
Absolutely.
that's about a quarter of what was remaining. And the
Of the
crazy
loss
thing,
that they made.
yeah, the
Yeah.
crazy thing about that was Emery was the manager at the time. Emery said, "I want a right-footed winger that plays on the left." You know who he was
Zaha.
looking at? He was looking for Wilfred
He,
Zaha, right?
Wilfred Zaha. Yeah.
The brain trust, and it was literally the brain trust, that's what they called themselves, that ran Arsenal at the time,
Mm-hmm.
was like, there's a guy in France, is left-footed that plays on the right. We want that one. He's younger. It wasn't the worst logic in the world. It was younger. But what they didn't think about was Sakai is coming on the same flank. You know, what are you doing? You're blocking the way of one of your brightest stars in forever, and you're paying 72 million
I,
pounds to a guy that was what 30 million like 2 days before you bought him.
I can That acquisition was too stupid
Yeah,
for it not to be
it was something.
for it not to be something
Yeah,
else. Right? Something else was packaged in that deal.
yeah.
That's the only if nothing else was packaged in that deal, right? Then whatever came to the Bain Trust, they were all fired eventually. I think they
Yeah.
deserve what came
And
their
a
way.
lawyer was put in to
They,
oversee things at Arsenal, so something was going on.
absolutely.
All right.
Something was going on. Anyway, so just to summarize this, Akin, yeah, we all agree. PNS, FFP, whatever it's called, it's a good thing. Cap, the idea of capping is not it, right? And you notice that the transfer season that just happened, the winter transfer window was it was meek, it
No
was
one
silent, it
spent
wasn't
any
as
money.
because when Everton was docked 10 points and Forest are about to be docked and City have 115 charges, they realized, shoot, these guys are serious.
Yeah.
That is why Arsenal decided to loan a goalkeeper, right, with an obligation to buy.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. There's a reason for
3
that.
million loan fee.
Anyway,
So can I
3
say
million loan
something
fee.
to wrap? So
Yes.
you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned the American leagues, and I talked a little bit about it as well. One of the downsides of having the cap, and then
Mm-hmm.
in addition to the cap, also having a collective bargaining agreement that says X percentage of league revenue must go to the players. Right, that's great for the
Yeah.
players. But what ends up and then having max salaries is everyone who
Yep.
can play a little bit now thinks they're a max player and they must make max money, right?
Yep.
So
Yep. Yep.
what ends up happening, let's take a LeBron in his prime, not LeBron of today, LeBron in his prime. There was a
Yeah.
time when LeBron was legitimately on that Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi level. So I would
Trajectory. Yeah.
argue for all those years, he was grossly underpaid, right? Because
Yeah.
he's making the same money that let's just say a Bradley Beal was making. So every team,
Yep.
because of the parity, every team now thinks, oh, I can pay my best players at the LeBron level, which makes no sense. That doesn't happen in European football, right? Because in European
But
football,
you need to use your cap. I can remember.
yeah, and then
You
you
need
oh
to
yeah,
use your cap.
there's a cap floor too.
So
Oh,
even if
sorry,
you
there's
have
a salary floor.
crap players,
Yeah,
exactly. If you have crap players, you have to pay
you
them.
have to pay
You
somebody.
understand?
Yeah, you have to pay
You have to pay
somebody.
somebody. You can't just sit on your money.
Yeah.
You have to pay somebody,
So all of
which
that was
is
because of a strong union on the players' side,
yeah,
and European football has
absolutely,
strong, but for them it's mostly about player welfare and stuff like that. And because of the structure, it's not
exactly.
as much about salaries as I think they all go together. If you don't have a cap, then you can't really say I want X percent of the cap. You see what I'm saying? Like, so you
I
can't
do.
have one without the other. When you have one, you will
I
have the
get it.
other. So
Yeah, I do. I do. Anyway, so whoever is listening, I think we've done a detailed, in my opinion,
detailed enough, yeah.
assessment of PNS FFP within the time frame that we have. So we're gonna move on. Akin's unpopular opinion. Um, I think I'll just let you just run with
Okay.
this.
So
You're the controversial one. I'm not that
okay.
controversial. So
Yeah, because you're
go
always
ahead.
sitting on the fence. So
I'm always sitting on the
let me
fence.
just tell our friends
Mm.
that we did not start this venture to sit on the fence. Yinka, get it together. Get it together.
No, no
We
problem.
need some opinions up in here, right? Okay. And I know that outside of this forum, you have a lot of opinions, so you need to bring it.
I do. I do. I do. I do.
Okay.
It's like Hiroshima when it comes. But
Oh my
anyway,
gosh. All
yeah,
right. So
let's move on.
I have to ask myself again why I'm doing this. Because last week I did it for Arsenal. I'm like the biggest Arsenal fan you'll ever meet, but I'm introspective. I like to think I'm introspective and I'm self aware. And before you abuse me, I'll first abuse myself. So that takes the sting out
Hmm.
of it. So, in the spirit of that, my unpopular opinion Nigeria are perennial underachievers. That's what I'm calling
And
it.
by Nigeria, you mean Super
I'm in the
Eagles.
Super
Let's be
Eagles.
fair.
Well, I mean, if this was
Okay.
a non-sports forum, I would extend it to all of Nigeria. But
And
we're
so
gonna
that's
see.
why we did it. That's why I thought. That's why I thought it's best we clarify. We're talking Super Eagles right now, okay? So that they don't come after you. We're
I,
talking
we're,
Super Eagles right now,
we're gonna
okay?
pretend like the Nigerian currency did not lose 49% of its value last year and 43% so far this year, and we're gonna concentrate on football. So the night.
Perfect. Perfect.
Let me stop.
Perfect.
Let me stop. Let me stop. So
Mm.
the Nigerian Super Eagles are perennial underachievers. Let me start by saying every time we talk about how great Nigeria is at football, we're really talking about the women. The women are fantastic. No one is better than them. They are the best in Africa. If they don't win, it's like, what happened? Um, Once Ivory Coast beat Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire now had three AFCONs. Nigeria had the exact same number of AFCONs. Okay. No one is going to look at Africa and say, oh, the greatest footballing nation in Africa is Cote d'Ivoire. No one in their right mind would ever say that. They are not. They're not. When they had their golden generation, they didn't win anything. They didn't do anything at the World Cup with their golden generation. The Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, is not a great footballing nation. They now have three AFCONs, the same as my country, your country, Nigeria. We are a middling football nation. We're not a great football nation. But don't take my word for it. Do you mind? I'll be looking down while I go through my phone and tell you. Let's start with the World Cup. That's easier because we haven't done anything in it. So that should take about 90 seconds to get through. First, we didn't qualify. There was a time when, for reasons we'll get into in other episodes, the powers that be decided Africa didn't know how to play ball. So they only gave us one spot. And guess who never took that one spot? Nigeria. Never. Not once did we qualify when there was only one qualifier from Africa. I would have thought if we were the great footballing nation we thought we would have beat everyone to that one spot at least one time. We never did. I'm gonna ignore all the years we were under you know, the colonialists and just start from
Mm-hmm.
1962. All right, the first time Nigeria could qualify as Nigeria. The list goes 1962 did not qualify, 1966 withdrew. I don't know why they withdrew. I don't even want to know. I'm not, probably because of the Civil War. I don't know. That was before the Civil War, so I don't know. So I'm going to run through a list of did not qualifies. 1970, 1974, 1978, 1982, 1986, 1990. That's six. Six World Cups in a row. Six times four is 24 years. No Nigeria on the world stage. Big footballing nation in whose book? Stop it. All right. And then we had this fantastic team in 1994, which
Yeah.
anytime you have this conversation with Nigeria, they go back to 94. People, 1994 was 20 years ago this year. Why are we still talking about 1994?
30.
Oh, my bad. Is it 30? I can't do, I can't do math. Stop.
It's it's worse.
It's 30 years
It's
ago
30
this year.
years.
Yeah, I was thinking 2004. I apologize. 30 years ago. 30 years ago. 3 decades ago. That was the golden age of Nigerian football. And the golden age was preceded by abject failure on all
Yep.
fronts. So
Yep.
really, Nigeria is like failure, failure, spike, back to failure. If we're being objective, because guess what? If this was Ghana, this is what Nigerians will be saying about Ghana. So I
Yep.
need Nigerians to start saying this about themselves, about ourselves.
Themselves.
We are not good at football. Okay, you don't believe me? Let me tell you. So I've talked about that. Let me finish the World Cup. Let me finish the World Cup. So 1994 qualified, round of 16, got eliminated. You know, 1998 got disgraced out of the tournament in the round of 16. 2002, the remnant of that golden age was still there. Terrible
Yeah.
team, by the way. Uh, we
Horrible
we
team.
went out in a group stage. FIFA
Mm-hmm.
has us finishing 27th out of 32 teams. Not great. 2006, we did not qualify. 2010, we went back, disgraced ourselves. 27th again, group stage, out. 2014 in Brazil, round of 16. Okay. We were literally
Yeah.
16th. Literally 16th, round of 16. That means, what's that mean? We're the worst of the teams that qualified into the round of 16? Okay.
Yep.
2018. So now we've had a run of three straight qualifications, which is good if that's what you think makes you a great footballing nation.
Up until last year.
Oh yeah,
Up until the last one rather.
Russia in 2018 group stage, but this time we don't come 27th. We came 21st. Baby steps. Okay. All right. 2022 did not qualify. Let me tell you what's going on right now for 2026 qualifiers. FIFA, in their benevolence, have now given Africa 9 spots, right? Out of 48. This is the first World Cup that will be going to 48 teams in the
Yeah.
US,
48
Mexico,
teams.
and Canada. What has
and Canada.
Nigeria done in the two games they've played so far? Draw
1-1
and draw.
draws.
Who did they draw against? A country that is not really a
Equatorial Guinea.
country.
Equatorial Guinea and who?
No,
I
no,
can't
no, no,
remember
no, no,
who the
no. It
second
was
one was.
Zimbabwe and Lesotho.
Was this okay? Zimbabwe and Lesotho, yeah.
Lesotho is a tiny country wrapped up completely in another country, South Africa. I don't know the size of Lesotho. I don't care. I'm not sure there's 3 million people in Lesotho. I'll let someone
Yeah.
check. All right, let's go to AFCON, right? So that's the World Cup. You can say FIFA was unfair, blah, 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 blah. What have we done in the Nations Cup, African Nations Cup, AFCON? My favorite tournament of all of them. So we withdrew in 1962. Don't ask me. Don't ask me why. Our friends in Ghana, for example, were winning in 57 and 59. We didn't play. We weren't affiliated, apparently, to CAF, so we didn't play. We got knocked out in the group stage in 63. We withdrew in 65. Again, I don't know why. We didn't qualify in 68. We withdrew in 70. Still don't know why. And then we did not qualify in 72 and 74. And then comes a string. I talked about this last week. A string of third
Yeah.
place finishes. 76,
Yep.
78, third and third. And then we win our first one in Lagos in 1980. Yeah?
So before you move on,
Go
let
ahead.
me tell you an interesting fact about that.
Mm-hmm.
So we won in 80, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was actually born on the day Nigeria won the
Oh, I did
Nations
not
Cup.
know that.
So maybe that's why I love football so
Maybe
much.
that's why
You
it was always in the stars. It was always in the stars. You know,
So
I
I
was.
ushered in the glory, the little glory days that you see of Nigerian
It's
football.
all up to
You
you.
know,
Thank you.
it's all about me. It's all
Thank
about
you,
me.
Yinka Yusuf. I was born 5 weeks before Yinka was born. You know, all six. I can't do math. All right. Then we come back as champions. I think it was Libya in 1982. We come back as champions. We get knocked out in the group stage. We don't even
In the group stage.
proceed. All right. And then
Yeah.
84. Okay. At this point, Yinka and I are old enough to watch. We got battered in the final by Cameroon. They were so much better than us. So much better. Cameroon is let me try not to be offensive. Cameroon is small enough to be a state in Nigeria.
Yep.
All of Cameroon is small enough to be a state in
Yep.
Nigeria. Okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna move on. We got battered. Okay. They were so much better. They were filled with world-class players, and we were filled with kids.
Yeah.
1986, we did not qualify. 1988,
Yeah. We
Cameroon
didn't
again.
qualify.
Not quite a battering. We went from 3-1 to a 1-0 loss. Not bad.
Yeah.
1990, Yinka's favorite coach of all time, Clemens Wenstorff,
What?
takes a
Clemens
bunch of
Westerhoff
home-based players to Algeria. We lost 5-1 in the first match. We were
in the
like
first game.
running
Yeah.
around like headless chickens. It was a disgrace. It was a disgrace. And then we somehow made it to the final and we
To
lost
the final.
narrowly 1-0. This is the story of Nigeria, by the way. This is like the West Germany of the 90s. They were just like they were runner up everywhere they went. Okay. And then in 1992, we could not figure Ghana out. Abedi Pele showed up.
Abedi Pele.
It was just
Yeah. And
better than everyone.
Aloy Agu.
It was better than
By the bare
everybody.
mention of Abedi's name, he was shivering.
It was shivering. I mean, and I'm not sure how old Abedi was in '92. It was not in his prime. You know, he would go on to win the Champions League the next year for
But he
Marseille.
was way
It
better
was
than
better than everyone on that team.
anybody in that tournament.
Okay. 1994, remember? The golden era of
We won.
Nigerian football.
Yeah.
We win
We won that. We beat Zambia 2-1 in the finals.
in the final.
Yeah.
You know, Emmanuel Amunike, 2 goals. We
Yes.
drew in 96 because we had a crazy idiot running the country, Abacha. And then we were banned in 98
Banned in
because of the
98
crazy
because
idiot
of that.
running the
Yeah.
country, Abacha. And then we came back in 2000. We're co-hosting with Ghana.
We with Ghana, yeah.
We're
But
co-hosting with
Cameroon beat
Ghana.
us in the final.
The final, I believe, was in Lagos. We played
Yeah,
Cameroon in the
Surulere.
final. They were better than
2-2.
us. I'm sorry. They were better than us. They were. They were better.
Nah. That's the Ikpeba penalty incident, remember?
They were better than us. Eto'o was there. Eto'o was there. What's the name of the guy? Not their central striker that was older than Eto'o. Ah, man, it's skipping.
Which of them?
Umboma.
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 Was it Patrick Umboma? Yeah.
Umboma. Not a world beater. Better than anyone we had that year. I don't even remember who
But
we
you
had.
had Kano, you had Ikpeba, you had JJ, you
We
had
didn't have a
Finidi
number 9.
George,
We didn't have a
you
number 9.
had you had Ikpeba. Ikpeba had a
He
good
was not
tournament,
good.
remember?
He was not good. It was not
But
as good as those
he
guys.
had an okay tournament.
He was not as
Fair
good
enough.
as those guys. But anyway, and then
Anyway,
again,
if
we now
uh-huh.
had, we couldn't convert at home. We did the opposite of what Cote d'Ivoire just did at home.
Yeah.
Not a great footballing nation. I'm sorry. And then we had another string of third place finishes, which, if my memory is right, that was single-handedly Okocha just dragging a bunch of like really, really bad footballers to third place finishes. It was just him. Maybe the occasional Kanu when he decides to play. 2002, third place. 2004, third place. 2006, third place. That might have been Okocha's final. Maybe 2004 was his final. Don't quote me. None of this is important. 2008 quarterfinals. That's a disgrace. You shouldn't go to AFCON and get knocked out in a car. I don't care who you play. You should win. Another third place finish in 2010.
In 2010.
And then the biggest disgrace of all, 2012. Don't even qualify. Don't qualify. And then thank God for Stephen Keshi. Blessed memory. It was the captain in it was the captain in 94.
In 94.
And then he won as coach.
Was the coach
in 2013.
In 2013. Yeah.
And then goes two more editions where we did not qualify. 2015, 2017.
In 2017.
2019, third place. 2021 started with promise. Lost in the round of 16 to a pretty good Tunisia team. We saw them in the World Cup. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then Cote d'Ivoire lost when we thought 1-0 would be good enough in a cauldron. Inka Yusuf, let me close on this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who. I didn't do the research to this level. The first Nigerian to win African Player of the Year. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who he was. But Yakini won one, right? Yakini won one in the 90s. And then Kanu won in I'm gonna say 90, either 94 or 95. I'm not sure. Could have been 96.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We went 24 years. We went 24 years between African Player of the Year, Nwankwo Kanu, and African Player of the Year, Victor Osimhen. In those 24 years, you could not argue that Nigeria was robbed. You could not argue.
Fair point.
Nigeria did the best player in Africa was not Nigerian for 24 years.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's a fact.
Yeah. Sorry. That was Kanu was Kanu in 99. Kanu in 99. My bad. My math is way off this episode. I'm sorry. 99 to 2003, 24 years. The best player was not Nigerian. The best players were not Nigerian. It wasn't like there was always one guy who was so good and then there was a bunch of Nigerians after him. There wasn't a bunch of Nigerians.
Nope.
So World Cup, we no get. AFCON, Player of the Year, What exactly do we have?
So for me, right, it's actually, I told this about expectations and what you deliver. No. I'm actually, surprisingly, I'm agreeing with you on this, right?
Oh, okay.
So all the math, what you said now, right? So what it's what it comes to is in finals, right? We have a 37% win rate, which is absolutely disastrous.
Abysmal.
And in semifinals, generally, we have a 50% win rate.
Wow. Toss up.
I mean, that summarizes the whole thing. For a nation that has this number of people, we are the largest black, nation in,
237 million.
230. Well, that's even I know we're more than that,
Yeah.
but let's even give it 237. 237. We should be churning out better footballers than we're doing, right? And I know you and I have spoken about this before. It goes back to our football administration in this country is whack.
Mm-hmm.
It is whack. What individuals are trying to do is what government should be doing, is what your sports youth and sports minister should do. You should have footballing institutions, right, in almost every key city in Nigeria. We don't have. What you have in most cases are personal individually run football clubs that are poorly run. Yeah, you and I have our own football club in
Yeah.
Ilorin. A lot of people know this. Within how many years that we've started, we've churned out more players than a bunch of people that have been doing the same thing for years.
Absolutely.
I'm doing the same thing for years. So I'm like, if we can do this with a bit of structure, removing any form of, oh, this is my junior brother, he can play. No, if you're not good enough, you're out. It's simple. There's no nepotism. But Nigerian football is riddled with nepotism, right? Under 17, bunch of the under 17 guys have one godfather that is linked to NFF or NFA or something, or people are paying to get slots, right? So even the best players are not even the ones that are being showcased,
Absolutely.
you know? So I completely agree with you. We are, if there's a word that is stronger than perennial, I will use. You had A1 in English in secondary school. I will ask you. You can tell me what's worse than perennial. I don't know what else. It's a disgrace. And somebody will listen to this and say, "Oh, but we won under 17 10 times." I'm like, dude, do you want us to wash our dirty linen in public?
Yeah, we'll try not to do that.
So let's do that. So look at the under 17 players. You see other countries, their under 17 teams evolve into their national
Yeah.
team. In Nigeria, it's this Nations Cup that we just finished. There were, I think we counted 4 under 17 players, didn't we?
Osimhen.
It was Osimhen, Chukwueze, and Omero
Who barely played.
that, who barely played. That's it. Every other person in that team didn't come through the Nigerian youth system. It was, a diamond in the rough, identified, shipped to Europe. He became a star in Europe. Then he decided to bring him home.
Yeah. Or he was born or he
Which
was
is,
born in Europe.
yeah, I was born in Europe. Yeah, I was born in Europe. He went through the. So now our feeder system for our national team is our coach scouting academies in Europe to go and be looking for players and be begging them, please come and play for Super Eagles. Please come and play for Super Eagles. It's
It
embarrassing.
is. It is. We,
It is
we
embarrassing.
used to have quote unquote foreign based players or even foreign born players come in to supplement, what we're doing at home, right? Now you
Yeah,
can literally have a camp in Europe and you won't even need to worry about anyone traveling in from Nigeria because everyone's in Europe.
absolutely. Everyone's in Europe.
Yeah.
Everyone's in Europe. Even the Lagos that used to be the hub, National Stadium Surulere is like you can compare it to the Bombanara, the Maracana. It's look. You when next you come to Lagos, we'll go there. It's a dump. It's a dumpster right now.
It's terrible.
It is terrible.
Right.
Anyway,
I didn't I
so
didn't mean to
let's
bring
let's
down the
let's
mood.
let's No. So we'll bring up the mood a bit. I'll bring up the mood a bit. We'll talk a bit, slightly, maybe for a couple of minutes. We'll talk
Yeah,
basketball.
let's do it.
So LeBron James passed 40K points yesterday. And again, every landmark game that he has, Lakers seems to lose.
He lost.
When
They
he
lost.
became the highest scoring,
Yeah.
they lost again. Right. So when he became the highest scoring player ever, they lost that game. And yesterday again they lost. But like I said, if you're looking at stats only, LeBron's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Stats only, purely, right? But if you go beyond stats, I look at LeBron and I say, I think Gilbert Arena put this. He kind of said it. I've been thinking about it. I've not said it out, but he kind of said it best. He said, look at Kobe, given the body, the physical tools that Kobe had. Kobe used that physical body, right, to the best. Yeah. That Kobe did not have the physical tools that LeBron had.
Yeah.
Was Kobe was just it looked like every other NBA player. It wasn't a point guard in a power forward's body
Center's
like
body,
LeBron
frankly.
is.
You know.
Or a center's body like LeBron is. And LeBron can move like
Yeah.
LeBron, I believe, yes, it sounds ridiculous. Oh, he's 40K points, 11K assists, 10K rebounds. I get it. But I still believe he could have done more with the physical tools that he was given. If LeBron played every single game in his career the way he played, was it the 2010 Eastern Conference final against the Celtics? I can't
Boston.
remember the
I
year it
shocked them
was.
when it was with Cleveland, right?
When it was with Heat, it was with Heat.
Oh, that
where
one. Oh,
where Boston went to Heat and they won game 5 and they thought, oh, we're just going to come home game 6. We're going to kill you guys. LeBron went Super Saiyan in that game. He did not pass the ball. He wasn't interested in getting his teammate involved. He looked at the three big guys in Celtics and said, I'm going to kill you people today.
I think that
If
was when they
LeBron
knew.
played,
That was when they knew that partnership was over.
exactly.
With
He
the
broke
Celtics.
them
Yeah,
up.
he broke
Them
yeah.
up. That game. If LeBron played every single game that way, frankly, he won't have 5 rings that he has right now. He will have no, he won't have 4 rings, sorry. That he has right now. He'll have way more than that. He will have way more than that. And before I hand it over to you, he needs to be careful. Father Time remains undefeated.
Yeah.
The fact that you are getting to round 3, round 4 with Father Time when your colleagues are being knocked out in round 1 does not mean you should disrespect Father Time. I saw the game yesterday. You still want to be pounding the ball, behaving like you're a point guard, dunking. Dude, go sit your ass in the post. If you really want to play with your kid, go sit your ass in the post. You keep playing this way, you're not a kid anymore, right? He needs to be extremely tough. Knockwood. I'm not praying that he gets injured, right? But this is the kind of things you do, right? That Father Time will look at you and be like, okay, dude.
It's time.
Remember when Kobe lost his Achilles,
yeah.
right? I mean, Kobe was playing ridiculous minutes. Kobe was carrying Dwight and the rest of the Lakers, and he popped his Achilles, and Kobe was never the same.
Yeah.
When he came back from the Achilles, it was never the same, So congrats to LeBron, by the way. Standout guy. I mean, we've not heard any bad news or any controversial thing coming out of LeBron. He's a family man. He sticks, he does his thing. He's making his money. Congrats to him on 40K points. I wish he plays long enough for him to play with his son.
Me too. Me too.
Because it's good news. I hope so.
Yeah.
And I also hope that the old Lakers organization think about other ways of beating Denver Nuggets, because those guys, it was a smackdown. It was like they were toying with us. They're like, just you can have the 11 points lead in the second quarter. Not a big deal. Fourth quarter, they took over and the game ended 124-114.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I saw it.
Congrats, LeBron.
So a couple things.
Hon-
So
Yeah,
number one, I think so. LeBron was so far. LeBron has been the youngest to get to every landmark
landmark.
scoring
Yeah,
feat. So 1,000 all the
yeah,
way to 40,000. He's been the youngest
yeah.
to get to the landmark. So which is remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
For context, he came in at 18. Came in straight from high school. Other people played
Yeah,
2, 3, 4 years in college. So, but that's not his
yeah.
problem. Kobe also came in at 18. Kobe didn't produce the way LeBron did. So he's amazing. So that's number one.
Kobe didn't even play the way
Like,
LeBron did.
exactly. Number two
Yeah,
is
he became. Yeah.
yeah, he's a collaborative guy. It took him a while to shake off the collaborative pass first guy. So he says it a lot
Mm-hmm.
that I'm not a scorer. So this is a big deal that I have the scoring title. Um, I think he needs to stop saying that because for the last 6, 7 years he has been a scorer. So
Absolutely.
it's no longer true that you're not a scorer. You didn't start out as a scorer, but right now you're pretty much just a scorer at this point. So he
Ah,
definitely doesn't play defense anymore. That's not really his thing anymore. He might play defense one game, you know, um, a
yeah.
season. But
One game or
one
one
possession,
possession
yeah,
a
yeah.
season.
but I was watching that game last night, and I thought it was interesting. The reason that the Nuggets are so dangerous, LeBron absolutely schooled one of my least favorite player on that team. What's his name? Whatever Junior something. Whatever his name.
Gordon.
No, not Gordon. Oh, Gordon is my favorite player on the team. The other one.
No, no.
Uh,
Oh, okay.
you know who I'm talking about. The guy who's always injured.
I know the guy that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was he shot 10 out of 10
Yeah,
yesterday
something
at a
something
point.
Junior, whatever his name is. Not a fan.
Junior.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not a fan of his game. But then this guy came back. He killed him on defense. That's how he scored the 40,000 point, right? And then the guy
yeah,
came back and couldn't miss. So I thought if this guy can play like this, the Nuggets are gonna be hard to beat. I felt like every shot Jokic made, there were two people in his face, and he still made it anyway. And then you mentioned Gordon. Gordon is my personal favorite player on that team. Every time I see him, physically, he reminds me of Brian Grant from back in the day. The
yeah,
the
yeah,
um, the Blazers, the former
yeah,
Joe Blazers of back in the day that Shaq used to beat up physically. It kind of reminds me of him. Just more dynamic. Just and then his transformation from what he was with the Magic to what he is now. I've loved watching it. Um, I
yeah.
think the Nuggets are gonna win the title again. I think if everyone stays healthy, I don't see who beats them.
Yep. And for me, it's down to Joker, right?
It's
He
amazing.
he plays he plays with so much ease,
Yeah.
so much poise, so much, and he has a fantastic sidekick in Murray.
Oof.
Murray
Murray
knows,
was
knows how to play
amazing yesterday.
position, right? Once they get to the fourth quarter, it's just the pick and roll between the two of them. They will finish anybody, right? But this is where I think if LeBron, you see all those pounding first half, second half, no, 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 no. Let the other guys do that.
Mm,
Reserve whatever you need to do for when you need it. Fourth quarter, right? I need to stay toe to toe with these guys
yeah.
because at the end of the third quarter, I think it was a tie. Then all of a sudden they just
Yeah.
they blew the roof off the of crypto, and they went away with 10 points. They won with ten
Crazy.
points at the end of the day.
And it's
Anyway,
funny. So I
so
feel like the two best players are the most unathletic duo in the NBA, Murray and Jokic. There,
yep,
you would not say, oh, these are like NBA prototypical NBA buddies. Murray can jump. That's not really his thing. Murray is very unathletic. Jokic maybe even
Akin,
more.
and to think both of them were coming off the bench to replace Nurkic.
Yeah,
Jokic was backing up
I
Nurkic,
remember.
and Murray was backing up. Was it Emmanuel Mudiay or who?
Oh my
I
gosh,
can't
he's no longer
remember.
in
Who
the
was
league.
it?
Is no longer in the league.
So the two of them actually got that rapport where playing coming off the
Mm,
bench together,
that's a great
right?
point.
And look at them today. So that's that I think that's it's a better note to end on, like ending it on with the
With the
with
unpopular
the
opinion.
Nigerian doom unpopular opinion on our Super Eagles. So that's our podcast for this week. Thank you very much for listening. Please continue to subscribe across all our social media platform. Like, and also if you can smash that notification bell so that when we put out, when we release content, you can get a notification and you can keep up with whatever we're cooking on this side. So, Akin, that's it for this
Yeah,
week.
this was fun. Thank
Hope
you,
you
everyone.
have
Thank you, Inka.
hope you have a fantastic
You
week,
as
and
well,
please
brother.
don't go back to court.
You as well.
Don't go back to court.
No, no, no
Huh?
mas. No
Don't
mas
go
for me.
back to
I'm done.
court.
All right. Thanks,
All right,
everyone.
guys. See y'all next week.